Hey everyone, it's Matty, and today I'm making a graph.
Hi everyone, this is Phil. I am not making a graph today, but I'll explain what we're doing. So, put simply, we're going to be plotting the top 8 3x3 solvers in the world. We're going to try to categorize them by style so you can see which cubers are more similar to others, and maybe we'll also see some trends in the sort of top echelon of the sport. This is by no means the only way to organize this. This is just what we thought made sense. So going from top bottom, we have creative and basic. So people that appear here are more creative with their solutions, and people who are down here follow a more basic formula for solving the cube. And you can see that with a lot of people who don't use a lot of tricks in CFOP and they follow pair by pair by pair. And then here, this is high dependence on TPS. So these are people that really like to spam out their solves and depend on their physicality and their turns per second in order to score good times. If they appear more here, they're not as dependent on TPS. This doesn't mean they don't turn fast. It's just they don't strictly depend on it to get good results. And of course, Matty's in the top 8, so he's going to plot himself somewhere on this graph. So I guess, do you want to go from bottom up or top down?
Bottom up.
Bottom up. Okay. And number 8, Du Yufeng.
Okay, so he's very fast. I would say from watching him, because I've sat next to him multiple times during Worlds, so it's weird because most Chinese kids, they're very TPS based and very algorithm based, but he's very creative. So I would first of all put him in creative. He still hasn't developed a super good TPS. His TPS is still very high, but I would say low TPS dependency because he's creative. So probably in this section,
It's like my name except with a D.
got you.
Yeah. Number 7 is Geng Xuanyi.
Okay, so he's one of in the very new generation that is just coming in, very algorithm dependent, very calculated in his approach, and high TPS. So I would say basic. He still has creativity, so probably around here, and very high TPS. So probably around here, I would say.
Okay.
All right.
Then number 6, we have yourself.
Myself.
So yeah, tell me about yourself.
Well, I don't really know much about like solving the cube. I just do things that I think are cool. So very creative. TPS, I don't really depend on TPS. I can sometimes have fast TPS, but I think I'm capable of having solves without high TPS. Fast solves without high TPS. So probably here, I would say. Inaba. Okay.
Okay, so again, like 3 very different. Number 5 is Luke Garrett.
Luke Garrett, okay.
Yeah.
So he's also very creative. His F2L, I love watching his F2L because it's very fluid. And that's part of it because he doesn't have to think about the algorithms. They kind of just come to him intuitively. So I would say creative, very high TPS, so probably around here. Is it 2 T's?
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
All right. Max Park.
Max Park, very high TPS, obviously. His solutions, they're sometimes basic, but I would say more on the creative side. So probably around here, very high TPS. So we'll put him all the way over here.
Nice. The copy of WCA rankings is like before the 474 update.
Yeah.
So right now it's Timon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Timon, yeah.
obviously very creative. TPS, he doesn't really depend on it because his move count is super low. So he still has very high TPS. So I'll probably say around here. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And Xu Ruiheng.
He's like off the graph in TPS. Basic, he's still pretty creative, so I wouldn't put him right at basic, but it's obviously very basic solutions. TPS dependency like all the way over here.
Like, okay.
Yeah, let's just put him here. All right, cool.
And then Wang Yiheng.
Okay, Wang Yiheng, he's obviously the best in the world. He doesn't really need any of this to beat us right now, but he's definitely one of the more creative young Chinese cubers out there right now. Probably I'll put him around here. He doesn't really depend on TPS, so I won't put him at the very end like Ruhang, so I'll probably put him right in the middle here. Okay.
Interesting. So we have a lot of cubers that are more creative, that are high TPS dependence. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it would make sense because when you have like creative solutions, it doesn't necessarily mean your move count is lower. It just means that you do things in interesting ways. So that's why we have to have good TPS.
So if you're a young cuber and you're, up and coming and you want to be competitive, where should you aim for? Like, should you aim to be like Timon maybe like one of these kids or somewhere in here, like what would your recommendation be?
I would say it depends on what you're looking for. If you want to go, it's different if you want to go for records or if you want to go for wins. So let me explain the difference. So for records all depend on low move count, because the lower you're, like, you physically can't have a 50 move solution and get a world record single. Like, you can't turn that fast. I would say if you're going for records, definitely hang in this section here, because with this low move count, if you just so happen to have a well executable solution, then it's a really good solve. But if you're looking for titles, I would say in the heat of pressure, what it comes down to is TPS. I know from personal experience, when you get nervous, you get tight and your fingers just start to lock up, and that's what causes lockup. So the person who can loosen their hands more than anyone else is the one who usually wins. Also in the heat of pressure, it's actually surprisingly hard to remember algorithms, right? So obviously not last layer algorithms, but F2L algorithms, if you have like a little less intuition than somebody else, it's really hard to conjure it up when you know the crowd is there, all those things. So if you have more intuition, more creativity, I would say you have a higher probability in like head-to-head finals to do well.
Where would the ideal position on the graph be, do you think, for like a theoretical best solver in the world?
Oh, that's so hard. Probably here. Maximum creativity, and you have high TPS, but you don't need it.
So you're the closest to that point.
Okay, that was unintentional. That was unintentional. But all of us, it doesn't really matter where you are. It just depends. We're all so close at the top. Like, whoever's feeling it that day wins. Like, that's what it is. Obviously, this changes depending on the day. So I had a competition yesterday where my mind was just flowing, and like I could just see things on very hard scrambles that like I wouldn't be able to see normally. But my TPS was just complete trash. So a lot of competitions before, like my TPS was just super good, but I just couldn't see the solutions that I wanted to see. So it really depends on the day at this level is the moral of the story.
All right, so let's take the red marker. I'm gonna ask you to plot some very classic cubers.
Okay.
All right. So where would you put Felix?
Okay, Felix, he's very creative.
Uh-huh.
And in his era, the cubes were not as good as ours, so he didn't need TPS. He was still getting 5s back then with less TPS than we're getting now. So I would say probably around here, probably around Yufeng, dude. So Zendex.
Yeah, let's go older. Do you remember like Nakajima?
Yes, okay, I can speak to that. So he wasn't as creative as Felix. I would like when you're watching his solves, even when I was young, I could kind of tell what he was doing. So I'll put him more kind of in the middle here, and he had pretty good TPS. So I'll probably put him maybe here. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Mintai. I'm just kidding.
I don't solve his methods, so like it's hard to say if he's creative.
Yeah. So how would this? Speaking of other methods, how would this apply to like people who use Ru, for example?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Ru is very creative.
Yeah.
In block building especially, and very low TPS dependency because move count is lower.
Yeah.
Yeah. So probably around here. Yeah.
Interesting. Any other classic cubers? Ackersteig.
Okay, very good. Creative. TPS, he had high TPS, but I don't think he really needed it. So here, probably.
Okay, now the challenge is to spell his name. I think, is it Akkersdijk?
Yeah.
Yes! Right now it's saying that Ackersteig is more creative than Timon.
That's not true. Redo that section right now. I didn't even realize Timon was there.
Yeah, that's what makes it hard adding more points.
Yeah.
You have to weigh it against.
Because you establish it with other people.
Yeah. So the red is like in their respective time periods.
Yeah, where would you put Phil on this graph?
I don't even do CFOB.
But for ZZ.
Phil.
I'm like down here.
Probably here.
Yeah.
Let's put Phil.
This person mostly came to mind to kind of balance out where the points are, but Lucas Etter.
Yeah, Lucas Etter.
Okay,
Lucas Etter.
He had very high TPS.
He's a TPS king.
I think he is dependent on it, so probably here, probably around. He's pretty basic too, so probably here. There we go.
Cube head.
Cube head.
Yeah, cube head.
This guy is incredibly basic with the solutions. He has pretty good TPS though, so I'll say probably around Ruheng here.
Mats Volk.
Oh, that's a good one. He was pretty creative with all his VLS and stuff, so he didn't really need much TPS. So I would put him right here. Let's just put an arrow pointing to him. Volk. Okay.
So do you think high TPS dependence is good?
In certain situations. It depends what type of moves you're doing too. Like Ruhang, he does a lot of R and U moves, which are like super easy to execute under pressure, so he uses that TPS dependency to his advantage. But for me, like if I had a little more basic solutions, I don't think I'll be able to do like the best turns possible. So then my TPS dependency would be my downfall, because if I like lock up a little bit, then it's just a slow solve. So yeah.
So in like the year 2040, where do you think the world record holder is going to be for average?
I would probably say, well, for single and average are different. Probably
Yeah.
low TPS dependency, probably like around here. But then average, probably in the middle right here, I would say. 2040. When you look at the past world record singles, there hasn't been really many crazy solutions. It's been really easy scrambles and really basic solutions with the PLL skip. So I think that's where it's heading to.
Sick.
All right.
Sick.
Right.
What's your 2040 world record prediction?
If you think about it, it went from 347 to 313 in like 5 years. I mean, there's already people getting mid twos at home, so 2.39 is speaking to me right now. So let's write that down. Take a screenshot of that and send it to 2040.
Okay, and average.
Average, definitely easily sub 4. There's already people getting that. And put together 4 perfect solves. 3.35 is my guess.
All right, well, there's our graph. If you agree with it, fantastic. If you disagree with it, let us know in the comments, and then we'll disagree with you.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Just let us know what you think. This is obviously, it's kind of subjective because it's kind of like we have to understand how other people perform, not from completely their perspective because we're not them.
Yes.
But, you know, this is based on the experience of a top-level cuber, you know, having sat next to them at all these major events and competed against them. So we thought this was like, you know, one of the better people to ask. Like, I think it would be ridiculous if I did it. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully this was fun.
Bye.